Hello, everyone. We're going to wait just one more minute to let everybody join in, and then I'll start the event. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. So, welcome and thank you for coming to our Branching Out How to Plant Your STEM event. For those of you who have not been registered yet, you guys can register or even visit our website at www.aciusa.org. Thank you guys for all coming. So just a little bit about ACI. Here's our mission statement. We have 4 categories under our mission statement. University Connect. This is what our event is under currently. Engineering Tales, Youth, Technology and STEM, and Professionals. In order to understand more about all of these, you guys can go to our website or ask any one of us or any questions throughout the event. Our board is here. You will meet a couple of them, like Shri, Jaspreet, and I, through our event, and they're all welcome to answer any questions about mentorships, any students' questions, anything about ACI, so feel free to reach out to them. You can find them through our website. Thank you. And now, why join ACI? So, ACI is called the American Society of Engineers of Indian Origin, and it's an organization of engineers and technical professionals. A little brief history on it is in Michigan in 1983, Mr. Hari Bindal founded AACI as a nonprofit organization. Since its inception, AACI has strived to strengthen the Indo-American relationship, institute a channel of communication between technical organizations within the United States and abroad, lend a helping hand to charitable organizations, provide assistance to engineering students at a local and national level, and organize networking events. And another reason to join AACI are because of the professional member benefits that we get for professionals, such as earning development credits, PDUs, and we also have visibility on hiring events and job postings. And more of these will be on our website if you guys want to delve more in depth into them. And for students, we have all the same benefits just as the professionals, and we have more. So we also will do mock interviews, help with resume buildings. We'll have personal mentoring with like the board members here and more. And for grad students, we have thesis presentation feedbacks from professional engineers as well. And now we'll go on to how to plant our stem. Thank you guys for joining. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them in the chat. We'll try to answer as many of the questions as we can. And if not, we'll answer them in a Google Doc and email them out to all the participants here. Thank you guys. And if you have not registered to be a member at AACI, please go to www.aciusa.org. Student membership is free for all the students out there. So thank you very much. And now I'll pass it on to the president of Nationals AACI, Mr. Piyush Mali.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing fine. For some reason, my microphone is acting up, but welcome you all. This is the first program where we are doing cross-chapter participation. We've got members from all over, of course, are invited, but we have speakers from SoCal chapter as well as our Washington, D.C. chapter. So I'm very excited about this. This program is about youth empowerment and University Connect. So thank you, Rinda, for kicking this off. I want to point out two things here. We have an upcoming AI summit coming next week. So if you haven't registered for this Artificial Intelligence Summit, I promise you this is going to be more about augmented intelligence, how AI is pervasively entering our lives. They're speakers from academia, from industry bodies, as well as from big organizations like Google, and you'll see the program being updated tomorrow. But just wanted to let you know, next Saturday, we'll have this program. Very excited to announce one more thing for our audience today. O'Reilly has sponsored giveaways for this program. So the most engaged folks on this webinar today will be given AI or a book of choice from O'Reilly. So please be very interactive during this session and post your questions, as well as we'll pick a winner later after this session. So back to you, Rinda.
Thank you. I'll hand it off to Ankit Jain. So one of our moderators, he'll start off the event for us. Thank you, Ankit.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ankit Jain. I'm a current graduate student at UC Irvine, pursuing a master's in business analytics, and I'll be one of your moderators for the day. My other co-moderator with me is Pooja Ladd. Who will introduce herself right now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I will be the other moderator for this event. Very excited for it. So I'm Pooja, and I'm currently double majoring in chemical and environmental engineering, as well as minoring in education. I will be done with school this spring quarter, so that's very exciting. I will introduce, or I would like Venkat to introduce himself, one of our panelists.
All right. Thanks, Pooja, for handing it over to me. Good afternoon or good morning to folks, depending on where you are in the world. But I'm excited to be here. I'm Venkat Gurunathan. I am a cybersecurity consultant with PricewaterhouseCoopers or PwC. Before this, like most of our participants and our attendees here, I was a student pursuing my master's at the University of Maryland. And then, now I'm here helping my clients enable their cybersecurity dreams. Right. With that, I want to pass it off to Jaspreet to give a short introduction about himself. Hey, Jaspreet, all yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Venkat. My name is Jaspreet Singh. I work as a business manager for Canex Pro, a company for electronics manufacturing company. I've done my master's in quality systems engineering from Concordia University, Montreal, Canada. Now I'm in States since 2015 and working for a company, Canex Pro, as a business manager, handling their operations, sales, international business. Now I'm going back to Pooja.
Thank you. I'm going to now pass it on to Rinda, another panelist, so she can introduce herself.
Hello, hi, I'm Rancho Patel. I'm the secretary of ACI, and I recently graduated from University of California, Irvine with my chemical engineering bachelor's and my minor in management. And I just started a new position at Emerson ASCO as a district sales manager. Thank you. I'm gonna hand it back off to Ankit.
Thank you, Vrinda. For our last panelist, we have Sri Gavini, who is also the president of the SoCal chapter.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining today's panel discussion. I work as a business development manager for Wayland Corporation. That's a distribution and automation-based company based out of Silicon Valley. And I did my master's in chemical engineering from Cal State Long Beach. And I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really looking forward to the event.
Awesome. Thank you to all of our panelists for introducing themselves. Now we can get started with our questions. So for the first question that we have is to Rinda, and it is, why did you choose your career path, and what excites you most about it?
Thank you so much, Pooja. So I'm fairly new to the job industry right now. Like I said, I just started my job like literally a month ago, and I am in the sales industry, sales engineering industry. It's very different from what I thought I could go into, because for me as a chemical engineer, I thought I could go into process engineer, plant engineer, just like straight engineering like that. But I didn't know that there's a whole business engineering realm of things. And for me, I feel like that would fit perfectly with my technical skills and my minor in management, along with all the customer service skills I've gained from my jobs. So I feel like they fit perfectly together, and I'm really excited to learn all the new sales skills that I can get from them. So that's one thing that, or one reason why I chose the career that I chose. And what excites me is being able to go out into the different industries, meet different customers, and learn all those sales skills. It's just like a whole new realm of engineering. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's extremely admirable that you're doing something which is kind of out of the box also. So Jaspreet, can you kind of talk about how did you get into a field that is not necessarily the same as your master's or bachelor's degree, and it's kind of different from what you initially did?
Sure, Ankit, that's really a nice question. So a lot of people, they get confused with like, I've done my master's, I'm getting a different job in different field. Is it like a right job for me or not? So yeah, I did my master's in quality systems engineering back in 2014, and I was given a role of application engineer for an electronics company. And when I was given a chance to attend some trade shows, go out in the field, talking to the people, that's where I found that sales is another industry, like another field where you can grow. And personally, I like to be in front of people, talk to their pain point, what exactly they need, and communicating back to the engineering team. That's where I found my space. Like, yeah, this is the right field it's gonna be, because I like to be in the front of people, and sales is the best you can choose to be in this field. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start as an application engineer. Then I was a business development manager, and then down the line got promoted to business manager. So now I'm pursuing as a business manager for this company. So it's not like you have to be in the masters and you have to be in the technical. There are ways. Thank you.
Jaspreet, I can add a point to what you just said. I work as a business development manager, and I did my master's in chemical engineering, and my go-to point once I finished my master's was to go and work for an oil field or oil and gas company, or maybe work for a pharmaceutical company. I didn't know that there are many other alternative options until I met a lot of qualitative people through this organization. So there are various other industries that we can explore instead of just focusing on the mainstream industries as well. We have emerged in many different ways in the past 5 years, at least in the last 2 years. There are whole new realm of job opportunities came out that we didn't even anticipate that's going to happen. So after I finished my master's in chemical engineering, then I decided that I also wanted to do sales engineering kind of role, but I wasn't sure because a lot of people in my family and outside even in my friends asked me, why you want to go for sales? Because there was a downside look on the sales, but I think I took up the challenge and I felt you don't get bored.
Yeah, well, people think that the sales is like those door-to-door sales and knocking on the doors and all those things. It's a different sales. Technical sales is a complete different industry where you have B2B clientele, talking to them, and it's a big projects you have to work on. So that's really exciting. And being a technical background and adding sales, that's like a win-win.
Venkat, would you like to add anything for this? You're on mute.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, those are some great insights on how you guys can like venture out into some of the untapped or like the more unconventional paths forward, right? So because we've been raised with our assumption that you got to focus on your core and stay there, build yourself, and then get yourself experience in that so that you become more valuable. But I guess at the end of the day, if sales or anything else excites you more, I think that's the path to go, because as Sri put it very apt, you won't be bored if you do the things that you like, right? So.
Thank you, Venkat. So I have another question for you. So along those lines, looking at your education and what you're doing today, what would you say is something that you learned in school or university that's essential to what you're doing today?
Yep, sure. So for me, the path was a little straightforward. I, in my master's, realized that I like cybersecurity. That's what I focused on in my master's. And then now I'm a cybersecurity consultant. So that was a straightforward path. However, in my master's, I did quite a bit of research on what sort of offering a course has in terms of, the course content and what I would get back from it. So I chose courses strategically where I felt that this would be more suited to the industry rather than doing research, because I knew I didn't want to get into academia. So that gave me a running start among my peers, and straight out of master's was my first job, and the learning curve was a little easier for me in that case. But more than that, I would also like to highlight that outside of the classroom, but within the university, I have the opportunity to serve as the president of the University of Maryland chapter for ASCI, and the leadership skills and the holistic skill set that being the president of that organization helps me in my day-to-day life, in my job and my personal life as well. We're taking ownership and leading a team and then growing it. It enables us to like work towards success. Yeah, those were my 2 points.
Thank you for that answer. I think another question which you would have is, so we spoke about like what you learned in school, but is there something or a certain piece of advice which you have gotten that you still follow today, which you got kind of outside school and like outside your professional realm?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I'm glad you asked that. So when you talk about advice, right? Yeah, I'm somebody who's always looking out for advice. In that aspect, one advice that always stuck to me and will always stick to me for the rest of my career is that it's one of the advice that I got from my colleague at internship when I was in the Bay Area for 2-3 months working for a startup. He put it very clearly that your next job is more about who you know rather than what you know. And this helps, shine a light on how important your network is and how important you having these extracurricular activities or extracurricular reach out, all of these are. That's where things like ASCI and all of that comes in, right? Now, after realizing the potential of having a network and then doing extracurricular stuff, now I'm the president of the Washington DC chapter, which is again enabling me to be a leader and network and have my set of group and friends and an ASCI group outside of university as well. And also, lucky for me, I'm interested in golf, and during the summers, golf season is here, so that's something that helps me with my network as well. So I would highly encourage students who are here listening to us today to work on that and be aware that your network is something that's going to help you way down in your career, right?
Yes, as a soon-to-be grad, I can definitely attest to the importance of networking. So my next question would be for Jaspreet, and it is, as a newer member of the tech industry, what would you say some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your career? Jaspreet, can you please turn your mic?
Yeah, especially, and going from masters in technical to all the way to the sales, that is a journey. And also there are a lot of challenges in that industry as well. So being a newbie in the tech industry with no context, it's a great challenge. It's the biggest challenge to be in the sales, since sales is all about context, networking, how like your contacts, and that's where the deals get cracked, right? So if you have those contacts. So I think the biggest challenge for me was to have the right contacts, who to reach and how to reach. And that's where I see that networking events like ASCI and many other industry trade shows and all those things comes up, and where you start building your contacts. You have to be very communicative with your clients or with your potential clients. And I think these are the challenges. These can help to overcome your challenges. For example, like when 2016, I moved to States in 2015, and I was going through the online groups, and I saw ASCI as an event in 2016 was a big convention in Cal Poly Pomona, and I was in Pomona at that time. So it's like I got to meet the former president Suresh Ladva, and I met Sri, and that was a big eye opener for me. And I was basically volunteering there as an audiovisual specialist there, taking care of the entire electronic stuff thing. But it was an eye opener where I got to see the Sam Petroda, the guy who revolutionized IT in India, and many other industry veterans. And that's where they help you with the contacts, leads. It's like one person spreading the word out about your company to another. So that's where you start building your network. So I think those challenges were overcome by these kind of events and organization. So yeah, these were the challenges, but there is a solution to that.
I think that's really good advice, that networking plays a huge role in kind of landing your careers and everything. So I think you kind of spoke about the challenges. Along with the challenges, I think imposter syndrome is really real for a lot of us, especially in college. Shri, can you kind of talk about if you had imposter syndrome and how you deal with it? Shri, can you unmute yourself?
Ankit, that's a great question. I think to explain a little bit about imposter syndrome states it's that you have only succeeded due to luck and not because your talent and qualifications. And I was going through some articles regarding this topic like a few years back. And according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, it states that at least 70% of people feel this way, that, oh, I don't have the necessary skills for this job set. What should I do now? So you need not have all the skill set you mentioned exactly on your resume. You will feel that sometime because you might have learned some skills during your course of your master's education or the jobs you have done, but you might not have achieved completely. So there is a chance that you will learn all those in your current job. Give it time. If you feel like, okay, I don't have this certain set of skills, then don't feel shy to ask people about that. if you're not confident talking to the people inside the company because you feel, okay, I'm going to be judged and my job is going to be affected, then talk to people outside the company, who are dear to you, and maybe pick up. Everyone needs to have a mentor. I feel that because I have a lot of very good mentors. I'm grateful to have those kind of mentors in my life. So I'm not shy to ask those questions so that I can deal with it. But it plays a crucial role in a lot of people's life, this imposter syndrome. So the way to handle this is talk about it, try to refresh your skills, and try to be more active in what you're trying to achieve. And the problem also lies in trying to set the expectations which are not real. If you try to set your expectation, oh, I need to learn everything in this job, it's not that case. You will learn different things every day. Because when I started my career, I didn't know anything about the products that I was dealing with. So I gave it some time. I talked to people. I tried to solve other people's applications as well. So I was able to learn more things. So you tackle it by learning it and trying to move forward.
Awesome. Did any other panelists want to add to that?
Yeah, I had a quick note that I wanted to say. Shri, thanks for saying that, because since I just got my new job, I would feel imposter syndrome a lot in what you said. And to me, what helped was one of my coworkers, every time I would go talk to him one-on-one, he'd always be like, there's no dumb question that you can ask. There's no dumb question. He'd always repeat it. So whenever I had a question, no matter how dumb I would think it would be, I would still ask and he would answer it. And then from there, I would grow more, I'd learn more skills. And then I won't have that question anymore. I won't always think, oh, is this correct? Is that no? Based off like exactly what you said. It's always about asking questions, learning skills. So thank you. I'll hand it back over to the moderator.
Thank you for your guys' answers. I think it's important to consider like where you will find your mentors, but along those lines, so a lot of students are always wondering like if there's a big difference between starting to work at a smaller company versus working at a bigger company. What would you say are some of the benefits to either choice? I think this question is for Jaspreet.
Sure. So yeah, definitely working for a smaller companies and the bigger companies, people like students always have a choice. Some have like for some people working at Google is their dream job, but for some others it's like working for a smaller company or a startup company is their passion or they wanted to go. So it's completely your choice, but there's no pros and cons or there's no advantage or disadvantage. It's just your own your choice that you wanted to make. Like I decided to go with a smaller company since I feel like working for a big company was just being a number, whereas working for a smaller company, you are like a value to them. People, your CEO or your high management sees your work and value your work. So it's a complete choice of your. And I think Venkat would like to add to this as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are some great points, Jaspreet. Personally, what I felt, what I considered while I chose a path forward in my career after masters was the pros and cons, right? What I felt that I would get out of a smaller company would be the ownership. I would be closer to the product and closer to the entire organization, and then have take ownership on multiple different aspects and wear a different hat every day, which would enable me to grow as a person faster, I guess. But with larger companies, you have a set. The advantages are that you have a set path forward. You get guidance, and your growth is, even though it's very narrowed down to whatever you like and whatever you choose. I feel the in-depth knowledge that you get from working at a larger or a giant of an organization is also valuable. So these are some of the advantages. The disadvantages for like a smaller company would be something like job security. You may not know when the company would go under. However, in a larger company, since it's so big, it's quite natural that bureaucracy would take over any of the decisions that's going to be made, and I guess that's something that not a lot of people would enjoy or like. So these are some of the things that I consider.
Venkat, great points, and Jaspreet, I can't agree more to your points. This difference between working for a smaller company and bigger company, if you're going to work for a smaller company, I think the number of tasks you're going to do in every day are numerous. Like you will get exposure to various roles in the company because the number of people in the company are limited. So you will be wearing different hats. So you will be able to learn a lot of additional skills that are required for your professional growth. It doesn't mean that you don't want to work for bigger companies, but the competition is really high. That might push your confidence levels to the really ground level. So in that situation, there is opportunities to work for smaller companies as well. And there's not a lot of disparity in the financial terms as well, if you look at in that part. So it's always good to consider your backup options, not just focusing on the top elite companies.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because we all kind of get romanticized by the glamour of these big companies at times. And we forget that these small companies also have a lot to offer in terms of exposure. So yeah, I think that was really good advice. Jaspreet, I think I had another question for you is that what is one non-technical skill that you think is essential in this technical world today? Because we have a lot of like business-based skills and we all hope to have certain soft skills. Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, that's very much needed non-technical skill that I will list. Like communication is one of the non-technical skills that's very much needed in order to survive in a company. Either it's a small company or the big companies, you need to communicate with your colleagues. It's a peer-to-peer communication, peer-to management, and that's like one of the skill set that need to have. Another one is the business ethics, especially working for a big company when you have like a hierarchies and all those things. You have to monitor what you are saying or what you are trying to write or emails to your clients. You have to monitor that, or you need to learn those business ethics as well. So those are the two things which are very much needed. But the other thing what I would like to is the networking. So more you network within your organization, more you interact with your colleagues, you come to know about their nature, behavior, and that's what you learn. You get your comfort level when you're talking to them, or you can achieve, you can also find the mentor there. Like there's so many things that you can have by having these kind of skill sets.
Awesome. Thank you. So as you mentioned, networking, that's been a topic, or that's been a theme throughout this discussion. So my next question is for Rinda. Since the pandemic started, obviously networking has not been the same. So in terms of your job, how has your job changed in the course of the pandemic?
Thank you, Pooja. So during the pandemic, I graduated in June 2020 with Ankit, actually. So we both graduated then. And trying to go through all the networking process through LinkedIn, Indeed, all that to find a job was just much more difficult since there were many hiring freezes and you name it. But through AACI, I was able to get a bunch of guidance from Shri, Jaspreet. We have a couple other board members as well, Sonu and them, and the previous president, Sam Ladva. They all gave me a lot of mentorship and helped me actually get to Emerson where I am. But it was much more difficult because it was just harder to go out. There weren't networking events. We couldn't go to UCI's, oh, here's a company coming, they're going to tell you about things, those type of events. So that just made it much more difficult. So I decided while I was trying to look for a job to go pursue my EIT, engineering and training certificate. And so I was able to get that as well. I know Pooja, you got yours too. So yeah, and then after that, I was able to get the job, and AACI was a major part of it. So thank you. And it was just much more difficult through the pandemic.
Rinda, those are great points. I think we can all say before pandemic and after pandemic. Back in the day, I used to travel quite a bit. I used to stay in hotels. I used to meet customers every day. Now everything have changed. Now I'm meeting everybody virtually. This is a known fact. We need not state it back again. But even the business world have changed a lot. We can make things happen much more quicker than what happened in the past, because even the ideology of the business have changed. The perspective in people's heads have changed so much that, okay, we need not waste this much time in going around traveling. So overall, through the pandemic, I think everyone's job perspective, looking at the job, has changed quite a bit. And in addition to the other points we mentioned, some of the technical skills or non-technical skills that we all have learned through this pandemic is how to present yourself even on your Zoom calls, right? We never thought about it very seriously in the past. We have done some video calls in the past, but we have taken it too seriously these days so that we can present it really well for our clients or customers.
Yeah, I think as both Sri and Vrinda mentioned, the pandemic has definitely changed a lot in terms of like how we work and how we kind of approach things. This is actually another question for Vrinda, kind of to what we spoke about. So I'm, as someone who is in the job search process at the moment, what do you suggest is the biggest advantage of our generation in terms of applicants compared to what the applicants was when you were applying or something before?
Thank you. Yeah, since I've just gone through this process, it's a great question. So for me, one thing that I first thought was like, oh, I'm gonna do interviews on camera. That's not gonna go as well. But after I was going through the process, I realized that that's a big advantage for us as well because we are in our comfort zone at home, and we can, rather than having to go there and meeting everyone, which is also another good thing, but to take the advantage of this is that we'll be in our comfort zone at home. We can, whatever your nervous routine is, pacing before, listening to music, whatever it may be, you can do it peacefully at home. And I think that's like a really, really good thing for us. And over Zoom, we can also strengthen our skills for communication as well. More, because you have to work harder to make those relationships to gain that communication through Zoom. And I feel like that will just overall give us the better communication skills, just make us come out on top. So, does anybody have anything else that they'd like to add?
Okay, well, if no one has anything to add, I thought that was a lovely answer, Vrinda. I'm going to shift the topic a little bit. The next question is for Shri. So how did you go about looking for asking someone like for mentorship within your career?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think this fear of asking people the question about your career advice is a little touchy subject. And some are very confident in talking about the problems with their mentors in the company. Some are very good at talking to people outside the company. So it's that feeling we need to get first, that, okay, I don't have this specific set of skills. You need to nail it down first, that, okay, I don't have this set of skills. I need to make sure I learn them, but how should I make my career choices? Whom should I talk to? You would definitely understand in the company itself, there are some people you can talk to so that who can help you grow in the company. So we have to choose, sorry for the noise. We have to choose in the company whom we are going to talk to, that relationship we have developed over the years. And also outside the work, also you have to network so that you can meet new people and enhance your networking, and also talk about what all mentorship you need, right? So like Vrinda explained earlier, no question is a dumb question. You can ask people. We have to come out of that our comfort zone of not asking people the question that, okay, I need some advice. And in these, especially in the advice or the mentorship, ASEA is very upfront, trying to help people. So I would say, try to connect with as many networking organizations as possible so that you can find your right mentor who will enhance your career path.
Awesome. Did anyone want to add anything to that? If not, okay, we will move on to the last question. So Shri, this is also for you. What suggestions do you give to F1 visa holders?
This is a very interesting question. And I think Venkat and I can answer this question because we have gone through this challenge. So the basic process for us is, once you finish your master's, you need to apply for your OPT, which is optional practical training. Then you need to apply for your STEM OPT, which gives you validity for 2 more years. Totally, you'll get 3 years of time. In that 3 years, you need to find the right employer whom you know you're confident that is going to sponsor for your H-1B visa. You have to develop that relationship with the company. The wider your network is, the stronger you're going to make your profile. If we have to work much harder in comparison to other people in the country, because this visa thing is definitely a challenge, but we have to make sure we widen our network so that we can meet the right employer who can sponsor for us. So we have to widen our network. That's very important as part of this F1 and F1 visa is concerned. And students, especially during, like Venkat mentioned earlier, we have to go outside our comfort zone and try to network with people, because I was talking to a few students as well. I spoke to a few students at Arizona State University, and I asked them what are the non-profit organizations or the other non-academic activities they were doing. So they were very focused on their academics. They didn't have enough time to focus outside the academics. So we have to divest our time properly so that we can improve our network. If we don't do that in the 2 years, after the 2 years, you will feel, oh, I should have done that before so that I have enough network and I could have found a really good employer who would have done my sponsorship part. So it's never late. So I would suggest them trying to talk to people, trying to maintain your relationship with them so that you can find the right employer. And the other part is, if you feel the bigger companies that we were talking about earlier are not going to sponsor you, then you have to look at the other companies. Like we talked, there are many other smaller companies who are looking for really good skill set people. They will hire you.
Yep, those are great points, Sri. I think I have some things that I would like to add to that. So Sri spoke about how, before finding a job and then taking up the job, you should be cognizant of their sponsorship and how you should, tackle all of that. Another good piece of advice that I got from some of my, well-wishers and mentors here is that, once you have the documentation properly in place, and then once it's been sent to the USCIS or the authorities for approval, there's no point being anxious about it. I know it's within us to be anxious if we would get an acceptance or a rejection or how it's going to go, especially when we are a non-resident, when we are in our F1 and naturally looking forward, we are looking to get our H1B or a B here. So I would suggest that this is not in your hands. It's more to do with the government and your lawyers. So once your job is done in terms of filling out the questionnaire and all of that properly, I think the best attitude would be to take a step back and let them work, and not be too anxious and nervous about that, and focus on developing the career and your skill set rather than losing sleep over it. That's my 2 cents. But if anybody else would like to add anything else to this?
I think that was really good advice as someone who is kind of looking for F1 visa, with the F1 visa at the moment. So that was really good insight for that we need to expand outside just the academic realm. We've had some questions from the chat. So if our attendees have any questions, please feel to put them in the chat and we'll definitely ask them to our panel. I think one of the questions which I saw was that with being an international student with an F1 visa, we get a lot of rejections immediately, pretty much that like once we apply for a job and everything. So how do you guys, I think this is open to everyone. How do you guys kind of handle the rejection from jobs? Because the job search process is extremely extensive. So do you have any advice and insight on that?
I can add to that, Ankit. So rejection, we have to understand this part. Rejection is okay. We need not be hired by every company in the world, right? Our skill set might not be matching to that specific company, or they might be looking for a person who fits exactly to that role they were talking about. So it's okay. Then if you feel like in that specific zone which you applied doesn't meet, or you couldn't find the job opportunities, then you have to switch on to a different zones where you can find job opportunities where you can apply. And like I mentioned earlier, if you don't find the job opportunities in the bigger company, why don't you try the smaller companies? What's wrong in, right? So try to explore more options. Let's say the other example is, let's say you're working in aerospace industry, for example. There are many of the smaller companies which does engineering work for the aerospace company where you can do the similar job, right? There are multiple supply chain based companies where you can still work for those companies as well. So it's just that talking to the right people will give you the idea where to work for, which companies to apply for. Then your rejection rate is going to reduce really, really well. Then you will feel confident, okay, this is working out. Then at least in the first day, you might get picked up by at least for the earlier stage of hiring process, but you might get rejected in the later stages. So you might have learned some things in your first interview. So you can apply those in the later stages of your hiring process as well. So there are multiple options. When I was a student, I didn't know there were these many options. Then once I entered the industry, then I found out that there were these many smaller companies or bigger companies that are tied around a specific industry that you can apply to. So we have to expand our horizon and try to do more research where I can work for, where my skill set will match really well.
I think that's really good advice, because for someone who is in the job search process, kind of just keeping our mind open and, as you said, expanding the horizon and keeping rejection as a learning process rather than something to take to heart. That's really good advice. Venk, does anyone else have anything to add to that?
I can add a few things to that. So as Piyush had mentioned in the chat, rejection is not a showstopper. It's one step closer to success. I think there's a lot of value in what he said there. But on top of that, just being through, like, I've been in your seat, right? Doing my interviews, getting rejected. I think the way that we should look at rejection is not to take it personally. I'm sure the companies that are interviewing you are having multiple other options. It's not a reflection of you being inadequate, but it's also that, especially now with the post-pandemic world where there's a lot of talent there with more skill set and education. There's a good chance that someone with a PhD, specifically in what you're applying in that job, would be competing with you. So we can only compare apples to apples, and the companies would want the best for them. So don't take it personally. Just keep going through. Something else will turn up.
100%.
I can add one more point to that, Ankit.
Yeah.
I remember applying like 3 years back to a job, and I saw that company responding back to me like after 3 years. We never know what's going to happen, but over the years you will understand what have changed, where you can apply more as you go through it. So there's possible. I felt like I would be never fit for that role, but now I saw that company reaching back to me. I felt like, wow, I didn't know that is going to happen. So we never know what's going to happen, but we have to constantly look for our open options. LinkedIn has been a great tool. I think a lot of hiring process have changed from Indeed, Monster, or even Glassdoor into the LinkedIn. People are directly applying so that people can watch, the hiring managers can see your profile, and immediately the process can start. I think the process also being reduced to lesser rounds when compared to the past because of the pandemic situation. I think the analysis of how the candidate is a right fit for the job has changed as well. I think they have improved it quite a bit with all the companies.
Jaspreet, I think I would like to add something to that as well. So you read my mind. LinkedIn is a great tool, great asset. So yeah, another piece of advice I would like to add, or what I have seen, is like try to comment on the LinkedIn post. You will get notified. People will look into it, and your profile is more outreach to the recruiters, people like high C-level management, and all those people look into it. You have some profiles. So yeah, try to comment as much as you can, like relevant comments to the post, and where you see like people might look into your profile and all those things. So that helps.
Yeah, I think that was all really good advice, and something which we all will definitely keep in mind when we're applying to jobs and everything. This is kind of a question to Jaspreet and she specifically, but what advice would you give to Indian engineers about business development? Because that's a field which you guys are kind of exploring. So you guys have any insight on that?
Yeah, definitely. Business development is not like something that you have to learn in the coursework and all those things. It builds up by your experience. So like for me, coming from the technical background all the way into the business development, that is something you have to look whether you want to choose or not. If you decide to be in the business development, you need to learn some business ethics, as I said, like communication, networking, joining the organizations like ASCI and many other national organizations. that's when you start building your a career in that business development.
Sri, do you want to add
Just a
anything?
great point. I can add a little bit to it. When I started the role, I felt I didn't know anything about sales. I felt like I'm not the right fit for the job. But one thing I was really strong at is on the technical side. I did my engineering and I was very confident on the technical side. I tried to invest my time more on the technical side. Then eventually I was seen as a technical person in the company, but the sales part is taught to me. The company will teach, even if you didn't have the enough skill set, you can learn from others, you can pick from your mentors in the company, outside the company. So business development, especially for Indian descent, I think it'll be much more easier to try it, but there's some hard work behind it. It'll be a good option for people to choose, but there is some hard work that you need to invest your time, but it's going to be an outstanding career.
Right. I think another question which is in the chat is that how has ACI kind of helped you guys in developing your skills and eventually landing a job as well? So you can, anyone can speak about this.
I can add a point to it. So as we all talked during this panel discussion, we had this chat, expanding beyond academics is crucial for us so that we can expand our horizon and talk to more people and expand our professional development, right? And sorry, there's some noise here. The career paths chosen. Venkat, can you go ahead? There's some noise here on my. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. That's all. So ASCI has always been a part of my journey in America, like right from college into my professional network. So as I've grown as a professional and a person here in America, I think ASCI has always been a part of it, especially with helping me develop my leadership skills, communication skills, and also helping me develop a network. Right. So think about it. I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm the president of the Washington, D.C. chapter. If it wasn't for ASCI, I wouldn't have known Sri and everyone else here. Right. So this connection and friendship that I got through ASCI is always something that that I really appreciate. And also by connecting with the different chapters and right while reaching out in terms of having new members on board or doing these university type of events helps me also reconnect with the university and students, which is always is a good thing where you have more acquaintances and friends in your life, right? So yeah, that's how ASCI has helped me.
Venkat, great point. ASCI has definitely played a crucial role in my life as well. When I was a student, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know there is something called networking as well. So when the ASCI came to the university, then I started as a student member, and I was given the opportunity to present my thesis to aside to some of the renowned scientists. Then I understood. Then it opened a complete set of new avenue for me, where I met a lot of really skillful people and people in the executive level as well. ASCI played a crucial role in that. And as far as the skills that ASCI taught me are the leadership skill, like how to talk to the people, how to arrange the meetings, how to set up the calls. There are a lot of things that ASCI taught me that I have carried to my current company and even in the past place where I worked for. So yeah, it's a great place where I started. And I think even sometimes I tried to, I think in the past 5 years, I forgot sometimes maybe ASCI, but ASCI never forgot me. I think it's a valid point to say.
I have something to add to that as well. Like I said earlier, ACI did help me get to where I am in my career now with my position, but it's like you guys said, more than just helping a student find a job and then move on. It's a lot of great mentorships that I got from all the rest of my board members and extended from that too. With Piyusha, Vatsalaji, Venkat from here too. Like all these people gave me great mentorships. And it just all the connections that we'll have these like you guys said, friendships for the future. So, and like she said, ACI did not forget me, or hopefully will not forget me now. So, because I definitely will not forget ACI.
I think that's really good points which everyone has put forward now. In the interest of time, I think because it's 11:55 and we want to be respectful of everyone's time, let's just have one more question from the chat. So we have another question. What challenges do you guys see? So for as a person who's going to apply for entry-level jobs, a lot of us new graduates kind of for when we're entering the workforce, what challenges do you guys see that we can, so we have experience is a huge factor which you have to overcome there. So do you have any advice to kind of overcoming that factor? Anyone can chime in for this.
Ankit, can you please repeat that question? I think it was.
Yeah, so I think what challenges do you see with new graduates as they enter the workforce, and like, do you have any advice for them, like for new graduates, because we're applying for entry level jobs?
Okay, so like I explained earlier, we might not find the perfect fit because we might have limited experience. The student might have limited experience, but some specific skills could be matching to the job profile. And for the entry-level job, you're not expected to have an experience for 5 years or 10 years, right? So, but we have to refine our resume properly, where we can, all the mentors on the ACA can help students to how to refine your resume, and maybe we can conduct the mock interviews for them so that they can accept what all challenges they can get in the future so that they can work around it. And I think Piyush added a great point, like chicken and egg story, right? If you don't work, you're not going to get experience. But we need to start somewhere, whether it's a small company or a big company, we need to start somewhere. Once you start, I think the professional career has started for you. You can build on that. And sometimes you might feel, okay, I might not have chosen the right path. You will get that feeling in your job. While you're doing your job also, you might feel like, oh, this might not be the right job for me or not the right fit, but we have to be conscious what decisions we are making.
Yeah, those are some great points, Shane. I think I would like to add something else as well. One of the things that I saw my peers, at least in the company that I work now, is that everybody has the technical skills, but the extracurricular soft skills, like things as trivial as setting up meetings, leading meetings, all of those things that Shri had previously mentioned, and all of the panelists here had mentioned as well. Those are some things that are not taught at the school, and I believe that's where most of the recent graduates would find it a little difficult. So I guess that's as a solution to that. I guess having extracurricular involvement like ASCI or whatever they may have would be helpful, and that's where I was able to have an edge over my peers when starting a new job here in America, at least. All right. Those are my 2 cents. Anybody else would like to chime in?
Ankit, are there any open questions on the Q&A?
Yeah, I believe someone wanted to come on. There's one open question, which is, what are the challenges you see with having more young engineering professionals of Indian origin participate in ASCI activities?
It's the marketing, Ankit. I think I can be very open about it. The more we let people know, then they will be, or once they get introduced to ASCI, how our events are, I think it's a no-brainer. Eventually it will take off. That will always be a challenge for us. It's the part of each chapter that need to work around it. But for the young professionals, they need to know. They don't know that there's an organization like this existed. If I didn't have an event happen in Cal State Language, I didn't know about ASCI. The more the outreach we create for the organization, the more the people gonna join our organization and take the benefits of it.
Well, I think it's Sri. I think that's a great. I feel the same, because in 2016, when there was an event in Cal Poly, and I was basically searching online because I was so new to States, I was looking for an organization like this where I can meet some Indian people, origins of engineers, basically talk to them, and I was looking at the job at that time. So that's what prompted me to look for these kind of organizations. So it was not that widespread at that time. So I totally agree with you. I think it should be everybody's responsibility now, like for us, like panelists or whosoever has joined ACI organization, to spread that word out as much as we can, so that people who are looking for a job or who does not know about this organization should know about it. So everybody should chime in and take that responsibility of spreading this word out.
100%. I think in the interest of time, since you only have a minute or so left, I think we should start wrapping up, right?
Ankit, Sam has, Suresh Ladva has a point to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guys, first of all, awesome job. Really well done. And secondly, the individuals are listening to this or watching this. If you're not a member, and if this isn't gonna inspire you to be a member, then we have a problem here, because ASCI, like a lot of you guys have said, have taken you to the next level. And this is an excellent organization where it's give and take, but more take. You know, we think we give a lot, but we end up taking way more than what we give. But everybody who's listening right now or watching should join this organization. It is unbelievable organization. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. And some of the guys are on the panel have received their jobs, great jobs, because of ASCI. So I just want to make that comment. Thanks. Once again, awesome job, guys.
Guys, I got all the audience who were still there into the panel. So in case you want to interact.
Well said, everyone here on today's panel. I think this is more sounding like a commercial for ASCI, but this is a true testimonial on the true case studies that you have. And just stay tuned for a blog that is coming up, which will feature the story of Sri. So that should come pretty soon, Sri. And all of you here, Venkat, Sri, Rinda, Jaspreet, you've shown what it takes to come out from a college and get involved with an organization and make yourself successful in entry-level job, and now you're moving on to greater heights. And the same thing for Pooja and Ankit, who've been moderating today's session. This is a perfect way to get involved with an organization like this. And now through our University Connect program, we are doing outreach to professors, to student bodies, and this is going to go even bigger and greater. So please let your network know. And I see Jwalant coming online as well. Jwalant, you want to say something? Jwalant, by the way, is our vice president, and he was a former president of ASCI as well. So go ahead, Jwalant. And
thanks,
Sonu
Piyush.
as well. Go for it.
Thank you, Piyush. I don't want to take too much of time, but it's really exciting to see this event, and great job, all of you. I think even we who are long time, ACI members, we need inspiration, and you guys are doing just that. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jwalant. Sonu, if you want to say something, go ahead. Otherwise, Vasla, please wrap it up.
Just wanted to say it was a really nice event. Glad that everything worked out. Happy to be a part of this organization. Thank you.
Rinda, you want to give the vote of thanks or something? Happen?
Yeah, sure. Thank you everybody for joining. I hope, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you guys all liked it. I'm gonna pass it over to Jaspreet for the closing comments.
Sure. No, I would really like to thank everyone for joining in this panel discussion. I think it was a very interactive. It was not like a one-way communication, so that was really productive. And I would really like to thank Vatsala ji as well. So she did a really good job in arranging this communication platform for us. And I really appreciate everybody's input. Everybody's advice was really good for us. We learned a lot, and we tried to give that pass on to our budding engineers or the young professionals who all wanted to come. So I would like to thank everyone. I think we are very excited for our next event as well, and we will announce something really good for the next event. Thank you, everyone.
And before we wrap up, don't forget the next AI Summit Next Saturday, you all have to attend and get all your friends to attend it too. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day and the rest of the weekend.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.